Hello, everyone. I hope you're well. Welcome to our Q&A session today, where we will discuss the coaching program, the different levels. So we've got some questions that people have posted already. Feel free to put your comments and questions below this video, and I will do my best to answer them all in the time we have together today. All right, so the first question that I got asked is, how do I choose which program level is the best for me? That's a great question. So there are 3 levels. There's gold, platinum, and diamond. Gold is for women, men, and couples who haven't necessarily started trying to conceive. They don't know yet whether they have some fertility issues, and they want to optimize their health and fertility prior to conception, as well as run some tests to get an idea if there are any more complex issues. This is the most affordable level, and it comes with 4 consultations over the period of 4 months. So it's 1 consultation per month. Then platinum is the most popular level, and it's for women, men, and couples who have been diagnosed with either PCOS or endometriosis or some sperm quality issues like low sperm motility, poor morphology, low sperm count. Maybe they've already had a miscarriage, or they tried to conceive via IVF. So they used IVF and IVF failed for them. So there are already some known fertility issues there. So we would need to be working more closely together. And in platinum, you have 8 consultations over the period of 4 months. So it's 2 per month. And then the diamond level is the most comprehensive level, and it's recommended for women, men, and couples who, on top of their known fertility issues, also have some other systemic issues like antibodies, could be Hashimoto's, for example, or some other systemic disorders that need to be addressed first before we can start optimizing them for fertility. So in diamond, while we say you have unlimited number of consultations, these are determined by your coach based on your case. So diamonds typically book consultation every other week, or it could be weekly if we're working on something more acute that needs more attention. So I hope this answer helps you decide which level of coaching is most suited to you. So I have one question that came through from Blessing. Hi, Blessing. Thank you for your question. Can you have regular periods in PCOS? Yes, absolutely. Some women have regular periods, even though they have PCOS. PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, as a syndrome, comprises of a long list of symptoms. So in order to qualify for PCOS, you need to have at least 5 or 6 of those symptoms to be diagnosed with PCOS. Are there any other questions? Would anyone else like to ask a question? If so, please just put your question in the comment section below this video. So while we wait for the other questions, I'm just going to go back to some of the questions that were sent through the web. All right, so the question is, what do you mean by genetic report analysis, which is available in platinum and diamond, but not in gold? Okay, so we do quite a few tests in this program, and the tests recommended are based on your questionnaire and are based on your initial consultation, which goes for around 50 minutes. We started using genetic testing for genetic polymorphism quite some time ago, because genetic polymorphisms can shed a lot of light on hidden causes of infertility. They can shed a light on the cause of unexplained infertility, recurrent miscarriages, secondary infertility, and so on. So some of the really complex cases, or cases which just look unexplainable, can be explained once we look at the person's genes. And genes are something that won't change. So you were born with a set of genes, and these genes are with you for the rest of your life. So doing some of these extra tests requires extra time. And the reason why this is not offered in gold is because in gold you only have 4 consultations over the period of 4 months. So we simply do not have enough consultations to cover that. And the consultation where we discuss your genetic reports take up the whole consultation. So it's that complex to explain. But it's wonderful to do those tests because they shed a lot of light and they tell you exactly how to tailor the prescription even further to the individual needs of the patient. All right, some more questions have come through. Hi, Aisha. Can you increase your fertility at the age of 49? Is it possible? Look, if you're still menstruating regularly and ovulating regularly, then yes, it's possible to improve the quality of the eggs that you have left, and it's possible to improve the health of your body, to address any underlying issues, to address any nutrient deficiencies, any toxicities, and bring your body into the best possible health for pregnancy. Of course, it does become more difficult as we age to conceive, but like I said, if you're still menstruating and ovulating regularly, that means that your body is likely younger than your chronological age. So it's the biological age that's actually more important than the chronological age. Pranati, hello, hi, how are you? Nice to see you and thank you for joining. Blessing wrote a question. I have been trying to conceive for 2 years now. My doctor says I have PCOS, but I have regular periods. What will I do? So if you have PCOS, the best way to treat it and to address it is through diet and through lifestyle. So with PCOS, you have to be very mindful of sugar, of carbs, eat predominantly paleo type diet, take certain supplements that help regulate blood sugar, and other supplements that help regulate androgens, which are male hormones, which can make the surface of the ovary harder, which makes it more difficult for you to ovulate and for the follicles to release the eggs. So there is a whole approach that consists of dietary and lifestyle measures, and also supplements based on your unique presentation of PCOS. As I mentioned previously, it's a syndrome that comprises of a long list of like 20 or 25 symptoms. And to qualify for PCOS, you need to meet at least 5 or 6 of those. So presentations can be quite different, and depending on the presentation, the treatment will be different. Pranati asked a question. I had a miscarriage this January at 6 weeks. This was 3rd in a row. I always miscarry early. What can be the reason for the recurrent miscarriage? My doctor told me I have high insulin resistance. So insulin resistance is not the best thing, and you should be able to treat it. You can treat insulin resistance with diet, with lifestyle. Doing weight training and cardio exercises are great for regulating insulin resistance. Early miscarriages, there are lots of causes for early miscarriages. The most common is a chromosomal abnormality. So if the egg hasn't developed properly, if the sperm hasn't developed properly, then the resulting embryo probably wasn't very healthy or was chromosomally abnormal, which leads to an early miscarriage. It can also be thyroid issues. It can be infections. There's a whole list of things that could be at play here. But again, we would need to do a case analysis to have a better understanding. The Thundercat 718. Hello, Thundercat. Thanks for your question. Hello, I've been trying for 3 years. My doctor hasn't given me a reason on why it hasn't happened. Regular periods, but I do ovulate around cycle day 11. What should I do? So ovulation around cycle day 11 is fine as long as it's not, under 10 days. So follicular phase should be at least 10 days, and the luteal phase should also be at least 10 days. That's kind of the minimum. If your doctor hasn't given you a reason, then it's likely unexplained. And it just means that the cause has not as yet been identified. We are very good at identifying causes, and so far we were always able to find lots of potential causes, from nutrient deficiencies to toxicities to genetic polymorphisms and certain dietary and lifestyle habits that are predisposing to infertility, or some hidden infection or an issue with a different organ that's indirectly impacting your ability to conceive. So, a lot of detective work would need to be done for you to help explain this. Neosoul writer, hello. Thank you for your question. Can you menstruate regularly and not ovulate? Yes, it's possible to have a period without ovulation. Usually those periods are lighter. You usually wouldn't have any cramping or accompanying pain or PMS as strongly as you would in an ovulatory cycle. But of course, this is also dependent on many other factors. So I would suggest that you do basal body temperature tracking of your cycle to see whether or not you're having the thermal shifts. That will be a good indication of whether or not you're ovulating. Hello, Thundercat. Another question. Okay. Oh, it's the same. Sorry, it just keeps jumping. All right. The next question from Viant. How to conceive while having endometriosis? So the condition endometriosis itself is quite complex because it does impact your reproductive system. It also impacts your metabolic rate, so your metabolism. It impacts the immune system because it's immune system's job to remove the endometrial growths which are found outside of the uterus, so it's not doing that. At the same time, you can have components of thyroid issues, so your metabolism could be a bit slower, and you need to then also treat it as such, and it's presenting in the reproductive system. So you would need to balance the hormones. Dietary and lifestyle adjustments are main keys there. Reducing animal protein intake is super important. So, eating lots of red meat is not the best thing. Eating dairy is not the best thing if you've got endometriosis. And then, just addressing all of the underlying issues and making sure that you're regulating any symptoms such as pain, heavy bleeding, and we can bring it under control. But like I said, it's affecting multiple systems, and as such, it needs to be treated carefully. Pranati, thank you so much. Thank you very much for your very nice comment. You're making me blush. Thank you. God bless you too. You're very welcome, Thundercat. You're very welcome, Neosoul writer. Pranati asks, can inflammation cause miscarriage? If yes, how can we know? Where is the inflammation? I have some inflammation too, but doctor doesn't know where. Yes, inflammation can cause a miscarriage because an inflamed body is a hostile environment to an embryo. So if you have elevated markers for inflammation, then I would suggest that, you know, they check your NK cells, that they run some tests for autoimmunities, autoimmune conditions, because that's usually where it's coming from, unless it's a bacteria or a virus that could also be causing it, and they would then need to also run some of those tests for you. Thundercat asks, if you have intramural fibroids in the fundus area, should they be removed? All under 3 centimeters. Intramural don't really have to interfere. So it's really the call of your obstetrician and gynecologist, because if they're all under 3 centimeters, it should be okay. But again, you know, they can zap a lot of blood towards themselves, because they're like little blood sponges. So you're not getting enough into the uterus itself. And if a fertilized egg should implant there, it depends. So it's really a call of a surgeon, because they, you know, they see these presentations all the time. From what we can offer there is give you dietary and lifestyle advice and supplements to help regulate the fibroids themselves, to prevent new ones from recurring. But there is also usually a genetic predisposition there that also needs to be taken into the account. Pranati asks, what to eat to ovulate on time, like any specific food or fruit? It's not really as simple like that, I'm sorry to say. To regulate ovulation, first we need to have a good idea of your cycle, then we need to see what you're currently eating and doing, and then we would need to adjust that based on your presentation. When you join our coaching program, there is a 150 question intake questionnaire that gives us a very good idea of all of the different elements which are impacting your health and your fertility. And then based on all of your answers, and then based on talking to you for 15 minutes, we can really see what we need to adjust and what type of diet is best for you. But if you've got PCOS, then you're leaning more towards paleo, not too many carbs, no dairy, more lean proteins, things like that. Hi, Aisha. What do you think about progesterone cream? Are they effective? Look, you won't see me prescribing progesterone creams. I never do. I think progesterone creams are a little bit like a crutch, because they're only, used in the second half of the cycle. And I think the corpus luteum, which is the leftover of the birth follicle that's producing progesterone, if it's not producing enough progesterone, then the quality of the whole follicle and the egg is not ideal. So I prefer in my treatments to focus on the quality of the whole egg and follicle. So the whole maturation process that goes for 120 days, the 4 months, hence the length of our program. And then ensuring that it's getting everything it needs, so that once your egg is ovulated, the corpus luteum, the leftover of the birth follicle, is of good enough quality and can produce enough progesterone to sustain the luteal phase. Viant, thank you, doctor. You're very welcome. Pranati, thank you. Thank you very much. Thundercat asks, any supplements to help with low sperm morphology? Yes, there are lots of supplements that can help with low sperm morphology. However, for sperm morphology, we also need to be looking at DNA fragmentation, whether there's certain bacteria or viruses in the background causing this, whether the amount of free radicals, and especially one particular free radical that our cells produce as a result of energy production, if that's too high due to poor methylation and genetic polymorphism. So these are kind of more of the issues. If you don't address the core issue, just giving someone selenium, zinc, and tribulus, for example, is not going to be enough. Okay, that's why many people say, oh, I tried everything, I tried the supplements, I tried the diet, nothing works. And it doesn't work because you have not addressed the core issue. It's a bit like if you have something that's polluting the environment and you're just washing up every single day, it doesn't really work for long enough, because tomorrow it's going to be polluted again. But when you find the source of the pollution and you sort it there, then you won't have to repeat this job every single day. So I hope that makes sense. A Facebook user, I think it's Aisha. Thank you very much. So any final questions? We've got about 5 minutes left. So if there are any more questions, please ask them now. And if not, then I think we're going to leave it here for today. And do feel free to write your questions also after this live stream. And I or one of my colleagues will be replying to your questions later today or tomorrow. All right, no more questions are coming in. So I think we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you all very much for joining me today. And I wish you a great rest of your day wherever you are. Thanks. Bye-bye.